Among the group of captives, an interesting individual attracted my attention. A very young female khajiit stood out from the yelping multitude. It actually seems curious. I do wonder how it can still enjoy the world which has but no means treated it kindly, considering all that has happened to its clan, the death of the relatives, and so on. None of this has forced this young beast to withdraw into itself. Unlike so many other of his kin. At that very moment, it dawned upon me. What if I test this specimen? Eventually, it could dispel my tedium. I brought the promised creature along with its young siblings, two mere whelps, male and female, into my house. There was something affecting in how it clasped them to its bosom. I wonder how those two would become useful for me. Uh-oh, that sounds already wrong. In my mansion, I assigned a room next to my dormitory for that Marishi. I decided not to rename it, as the word sounds amusing. One of my altar maids is obligated to look after the specimen. I had it washed and dressed as if it were a civilized person. What a hilarious sight. Those beasts really dislike water. So the washing process was quite a spectacle. Unfortunately, the process exposed several deficient spoils in the impression of my game. It reassembled a cat too much. All the shading, fur, and the smell. I should consider doing something about it. For now, I have ordered that the bathed every day recordable. I got used to water after a few days. It got used to water after a few months. Telling those butchers from a fucking off in cloud rest, they are completely useless, all of them, to fully eliminate fur from body, to get rid of feral aroma. No bloody way, just tiny muscle changes, and even that only with a obligate pain relief. An obligate one, pardon me. Indemnifiable. Jesus, what a fucking lot of hard words for me. Patient. I have burrowed in our family archive and finally stumbled upon a volume of Grand Uncle Ehrenkar's writing about some tests concerning planting species into different racial environments of Nern. The test dealt with the appearance shifting of subject. This was no more face sculpting, but full-scale deep body change, including race and sex alternation. Sorry about that. To my greatest sorrow, either the effects was short-lasting or the alteration appeared to be substantial, muddled, and the full results were virtually unpredictable. A consideration portion of the test subjects lost their lives during the ritual due to pain and shock accompanying the alteration. I am determined to linger for now. To begin, I decided to test the depth of its effects towards its kinsfolk. It is said that khajiit are paramount individuals, even echoes, but even my preliminary observe disapprove it. Merisi apparently cares for its little kinfolk and tries to defend them. Well, soon I'll test the limits of these feelings. 3 weeks in a row I've been gaining the test subjects' confidence. I warmly respond to his questions. I explain that I have no connection to the extermination of his clan and the death of its relatives. I taught it some basic manners, and as a reward I have allowed it a few brief visits to its little kinfolk who were contained in an isolated outhouse. Those visits do a great deal to draw my plaything together, as there are allowed me no other methods of communication. The little male and female khajiit dwellers are housed separately, and Merisi is permitted to speak only to me. That favors the growth of trust between me and the test subjects. Although popular wisdom asserts that khajiit are exclusively self-reliant, they do suffer from loneliness, and it eagerly welcomes my company. Having determined and set the initial conditions, I am finally able to start the real amusement. It is essentially for Merisi to keep seeing me as a trusted person, at least, if not a friendly one. This means that someone else must perform all the unpleasant tasks, not me. Good thing there is no reason for that someone to be real. That's how my virtual brother Barniel was born. His name itself should become a symphony of terror, pain, and suffering for the test subjects. I began to mention Barniel while talking to Merisi. He's a really octration person, and alas, he's my elder and far more powerful than I. The entertainment begins slowly. I often barrel he holds laughter inside, and I constantly have to hide my smile. I do enjoy the playing as I tremble before Merisi while pretending to hear Barriel's footstep or voice, as if I'm concerned about him coming in. That funny feline thing even tries to console me. How amusing. Finally, my virtual brother has become a very realistic threat for the test subject, at least as realistic as I need him to be. Today I rushed to Merisi in a great hurry. Come on, oh please, my brother's going insane. He wishes to kill your siblings. We should stop him. Hurry up. Will you? Surprisingly, it stood up and followed me at once. I guess it understood that the need of urgency. We ran up to my truly prepared stage, the lesser mentioned stateroom. The furniture was removed, and a brightly lighted door was clearly seen against the darkened wall. I don't know why, but he always leaves a chance for his prey. You can save them, I'm sure. Gruesome laughter ran out from the chamber balcony. It's him, I cried. Oh, I admit it, I overreacted a bit, but the khajiit in general are not the brightest mind of Nern, and this one was in a very unusual situation. The door over there. You still can save them. Hurry up. I cannot help you. He'd kill me. But you may have a chance. So please run for their lives. Merisi loitered into indecision for a moment, only dashed for the door, open it. The passage behind the door was long, very long illusions. I'm getting tired of speaking. Are my own illusions are my only weakness. The subject ran, but the Molosseum dogs had already been released as soon as the door was opened. Holy shit, this book is long. There was a third small physical torture chamber after the passage, where its little kinfolk were stunned and put into opposition corners. The dogs, two vicious wolfhounds, restrained by magical shields, eager for the helpless prey. The hounds growled and scratched the floor with their claws. The effects of the stun was just starting to wear off of the little brats. The tiny feline whining they made seemed to enliven the test subjects for a blink. I believe it just didn't hear the dog's terrifying growl. At last, the moment I'd planned for so long. Marisi ran out of the passage into a small chamber, about 24 yards from one wall to the other. Each of the little brats was sent out dozen yards away from the test subject, each faced by a huge slavering dog, currently battering against the weakening magic shield. It took me some time to build up a appropriate hunger for living khajiit in those beasts, but now it was worth it. Here was the climax. Here was the moment of truth. Marisi doesn't know that I have covered her with a stronger shield to block her sense, so the dogs won't lay a claw on it. Okay. Which one of the siblings? Brother or sister? The dogs are obviously making their way through the shields, and Marisi has to make a choice. And make it now. Well, the first move for every creature with the E and the smallest wit in such a situation would be to run for its life. But even if it tries to save someone, it only be able to save one. It has to make its choice, who lives and who poignantly dies. That was really excited all of my expectation. I'm still feeling a delightful shiver running through my body. Just remember that precious moment. Blink, it frees still. Blink, stares to the right. Blink, to the left. Time stops, and suddenly understood blooms, and I see its pupils widen. I didn't believe they could widen any further. Marisi lingers one more moment before hoping to wake from the nightmare. Perhaps waiting to be awakened from the nightmare. Suddenly, it dashed for the male whelp. The choice has been made. I almost feel it's keeping the pain inside gritting its teeth. Now, it's time to act. Time for sorrow and self-punishment will come later. The shields are off. Both dogs immediately rush for the corner, where the female whelp is crying in horror. I'm keeping them at bay, while just holding them back a little just to stretch out this noteworthy scene. To make it last, the prey begins to yell at the top of its lungs. The screams are filled with terror. Jesus, this is really dark. I guess the khajiit are indeed too close to animals. Each time I hear that yelling, it reminds me of how real cats cry when being squished or skinned. Anyway, the dog starts to tear the prey apart, and without my intervention, it'd be dead in just a blink. But here I am, staged in the scene from my observation room, and the terrible scream doesn't stop for even a moment until, at last, the moment I've been waiting for. Marisi loses itself and punishing the safe male whelp aside. Dashed for the hopeless female prey to help. It doesn't know that all its efforts are in vain. The little khajiit bitch was being kept alive only by my goodwill. Well, keen will. At least, at the moment, Marisi moved from its male sibling, it stopped pumping life energy into the male one. The body falls to the cold stone and her feet bits in again 2 times with impeccable timing and almost the exact moment that she reached it. Also ruthless and rage-filled as a pure-blood Dremora lord, Marisi pounced upon one of the dogs. Khajiit claws and fangs might be a tough weapon, and a poor loyal wolfhound feels it badly right now. However, rage dims feline vision, and test subject just loses sight of the other dog, who immediately changes his aim and rushes for the just saved male whelping. Marisi's brother clings fast into its corner and cries. The test subject at once realizes its mistake, and the horror of its realization freezes it in place. Ah, god damn it. This fucking long ass book. Astounding! The khajiit, who had almost seemed paralyzed with shock and terror, breaks herself free, casts spell, and dashes for its male sibling, perhaps already knowing that it's too late to save the whelp. I'm absolutely sure it realized the futility of actions. Nevertheless, the second noble wolfhound is torn into but its desperate feline attack. Then comes silence. Expects from misery, panting from breath. The sound is almost as loud as the sea squeal. It slowly looks around, the eyes become empty, it collapsed. At long last, that was splendid. Even now, a great excitement fills me inside and almost spills over such bright prospect. Ah, the oblivion with prospect. Such an unwitnessed pleasure. To create all that situation, to place the actors on their destination spots, and to pull their wires, making them move with just a single purpose, to bring me the unpredictable delight making love. Who cares about sex while having such a power in her possession? Such a power in her possession. The power of making this naive feline female do anything. Absolute power. An irresistible rejoice after all those years of boredom and daily routine. I definitely want more. I want more. More. I'm not gonna yell that. For 2 whole days I kept Marisi submerged in a healing sleep. Not because of its wounds, it had none, or mental ill injuries, I don't care less about them. It was I who really needed some time to recover, and to mull over the future plans. I suppose that's exactly the feelings a newly had right after creating Sivir, feeling literally unmatched. It means even more amusement awaiting ahead. There's even more. It woke up, time to raise the curtain for the second act, putting on the saddest possible expression. I knocked at Marisi's door. I should after all demonstrate the manners that I've taught myself, and enter the room, not waiting for an answer. But I also should clearly show whose the master was. The test subject was sitting on his bed with fixed eyes, hand embracing its knees. A pleasant sight, not a single movement in my direction. Behave yourself before your lady, you little stinker. Mercy, my dearest Mercy, I'm so sorry about all those horrible things. Can you hear me? I so pity your poor little sister, but you can't be proud of yourself. You are a good girl. If it were not for you, your brother would also be dead now. And I got exactly the reaction I had been waiting for. Some kind of inner light started to show through its dull pupils. An empty shell that was sitting on the bed a moment ago began to fill with life, the same life that caught my eyes several weeks ago. My brother is alive? Such a subdued timed voice. I swear I'm not close to sensual climax once again. Mercy was sure he's no more. He's badly injured and he lost plenty of blood, but he hasn't gone to his last home yet. And that's because of you. Even my atrocious brother is enraptured by your bravery. Now no one will do any harm to your little brother. I'm sad to say, though, the wounds that are too deep to heal themselves. I need your aid to help him to recover. Mercy jumped up at once. Is he ready? I began to explain. We'll have to conduct a very special ritual. Very, very special and extremely dangerous. Dangerous for you. I'll try to channel some part of your vital energy to your brother. Please, she humbly begs you, mistress. Do everything that it takes. She's ready for anything. Oh, this is a very long book. It prostrates itself before me and burst into tears. It reminded myself about pretending to be its big sister and raised the sobbing thing, pressing it against my breast, against my abdomen, to be more precise. But I can't look at this stature difference. It's a genie mother and child stage. Am I not a genius? Yes, my dearest Mercy. I could do it, but you will suffer. You see, the ritual is very painful, and that's not all. You'll change. Your face, your body will be changed forever. So much so that even your kinsfolk won't accept you anymore. You become a stranger to them. They'll think you're a spy. Mercy doesn't care. Please, mistress, be so kind. Save him. Save her brother. Oh, that's the skulls. It's exactly the skull that I saw. So that's his khajiit skull then. That's pretty cool. I managed to update the ritual to make the test subject prospect of death considerably lower, to the point where it felt confident enough to venture my plaything and made it a little more pleasant. I took Mercy into a small room with a current of area in the corner. I prepared a second operation theater for this. Upon entering the room, it looked at the corner and then back at me. Hopefully. Yes, you are right. Your brother is there, but you better not look at the poor thing right now. He's wrapped up for better treatment, so... It nodded, satisfied with the explanation. I made it lie down on the stone platform, then tie its arms and legs, almost trembling with impatience. Actually, it would have been simply for me to soothe the transformation pain, but for the sake of deepening my own pleasure, I let it be. God damn it, she's very Gee, damn, this is really hard to read. This is grinding my brains, actually. Mercy, you must endure if you want your little brother to walk again. It just clenched its teeth in response. Splendid. I turned the lights off, leaving but a small lamp to highlight the platform holding the test subject. Then I performed several suffocate phases, accompanied by the long incantation which had not been heard under Nern sun or moons for centuries. The formula with the full experimental protocol are written in my 7th Grimoria part 16 powers were called, and energy flows surrounded the female body. Mercy artist back. Hold on. Let's put the experiment protocol in my powers. Holy shit. Abruptly and screams, oh the pain. Shifting joints, rescaling bones, rendering tissue that should be unbearable in any circumstances. But for the test subject, the pain was lasting and lasting, all for the insatiable pleasure. Just to make it last, I had to alternate mystery sense of time with another spell, so for it to process was insufferable slow, all according to my calculations. Damn, that looks painful. She's turned it basically into a human again, partly, by shifting all its bones, joints and everything. That's horrible. Damn it. Screams are replaced by rust crowns, blood drips from the bitten lips and tongue. A very fetching shade's eyeballs nearly popped out, but it endured. I could bet it really believes it can't allow itself to give up, to retreat into the merciful oblivion of unconsciousness, simply because the male whelp's life depends on it. It goes on, struggling, such a strong will for such a pitiful creature. The test subject joints crackled while breaking out. Note to self, I should fix the limbs better next time. But the ritual was already coming to an end, and eventually it managed to endure it all. The ecstasy, probably in the final stage, still was up to 30%, and I lowered it significantly with the 3 proficient healing spells. Now the test subject needs a bit of rest to fully recover. The entity should accept its new form. Well, let's take a break. A week should be enough, as predicted. Holy shit, I actually need a drink. Hold on a second. You know, this is the longest read I ever have done, so Jesus Christ, I didn't know that book would be so long. Although it's very detailed on what's going on. Cheers, lads. Jesus Christ. My throat hurts. Okay. Let's go back to the action. I'm perfect. I'm marvelous. I'm the best of the best of the best. That's a lot of best. It took exactly 7 full days for the test subject to recover, and when I was informed that it had come to its senses, I immediately rushed for its bed. I entered the room and stood stock still, admiring the fruits of my efforts. The result has surpassed all my most ardent expectations. The mongrel retained the unique khajiit features, by which I mean the tail and feline ears, but in all other ways it has become extremely close to mare. I don't know what a mare is anymore. It's one of the races. It's an elf, I think. It's an elf, right? The Talmar elves. How's the elves actually called? It's a... I don't remember. Never played one of them, so. And notice much more than even that Omes breed. Notice how update the spell to change Myr into a lesser race. A possible way to get rid of an unwanted rival without traditional liquidation. I even say that it became rather cute. The chances are, after becoming of age, it won't be an excursion to call it. Well, beautiful. Or should I write she's from now on? No, I don't think so. A beast is a beast, even after some body alterations. Anyway, even this soft, short fur covered almost all over its body doesn't cause my disgust as it always used to. This body, my body, in so many ways, was dainty and savory. For a blink, I even thought of, well, I'm not sure. Anyway, I have every reason to be proud of myself. As always, congratulations me. Marishi dashed to me with a cute, impatient and inclination look on her face. It worked well. Worked well? Please, kind mistress, have you succeeded? Of course I succeed, my child. Everything went even better than I expected. In her joy, the test subject threw itself upon my leg, thanking me efficiently. It was an ineffable pleasure to put my arms around Marishi's shoulders, to look deeply into the tear-stained eyes, to lift its slight body up to its feet, and the smell, or should I say the aroma, it smelled much better than those dirty khajiits. It was just another specimen now. I hadn't unleashed all of oblivion onto its head, and it was grateful, hilarious. It was enough to make a cat laugh. The test subject miserably asked to let it see its recovering brother, but I flatly refused. I explained that the brother needed to recuperate and should not be disturbed. By the way, Marishi itself was in a great need of further rest and fine-tuning. The final state hasn't even begun yet. Even fucking more! I went on with Marishi's training. I've prepared a genie little lady for my long-awaited event, and the final act of my precious plan. Marishi looked magnificent, clad in a tightly fitted dress made of a rare thin fabric, but magically changed in its color at a slow pace, from dusky hyacinth to pale lilac. Some of these words are very annoying for me. I've never heard of some of these words. Very high class words, it seems. I've invited guests from all the Dominion, representing all the high ranks of nobles, Altamiri society. Altamir, that's what it was. Thanks, game. Society, though not so many as did, diminishing the intimacy of the event. So much to do, so little time. At long last, the guests were all gathered into the mansion, and the night began. After a ceremonial dinner, everyone was ready to take delight into the main course, and I wouldn't make them wait for too long. One of my personal guards helped me Marishi not to trip over a long skirt, yeah, I'm saying that right, as these descended the stairs together. They proceed a marvelous impression. A delicate, slender girl, well, almost a girl, hanging on the arms of a 7-foot-tall, virile-looking fighter clad in full armor with a scarred and manly face. Under his nostril helmet, D. Holy shit, that is indeed a very good looking armor. Audience look all over them with curiosity and surprise. Time for me to go on stage. That is a very good armor. I like that actually. This book goes on and on and on. That was the night of my triumph again. Please allow me to introduce you to my protege, young Marisi, the khajiit. I suppose you've noticed several minor details that different it from other specimens of its skin. Also, I would like to humbly draw your attention to this very affecting moment. Soon we all will have the delicacy of seeing a family reunion. A younger brother finally reunited with an elder sister. The male khajiit, well, was literally stopped at death's door by the precious collaboration of myself and this young brave heart, bitten and almost torn apart by brutal wolfhounds. That whelp was finally brought back to life, only with the active participation of its older sister. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you will all witness the exciting reunion. That was a moment worth waiting for. Marisi's face changed dramatically. It was radiant with hope and sweetly timed happiness, in a remarkable contrast to its long, pompous face of the cast. I must admit, during my exultant speech, I caught not a few uncompressed looks from the audience. Good for me. I have quite a reputation amongst the highest ranks of Dominion. So many casts were both curious and cautious enough to let me reach the end of the ridiculous speech. And while they looked a bit perplexed, they definitely did not seem disappointed. Finally, triumphant blared. 2 guards brought in a carved wooden screen, placing it before a small door at Marisi's right side. One more blare, much louder this time, and the door opened behind the screen was opened. Marisi, my dearest, at long last embrace your beloved brother. The test subject ran to the door in a hurry. I nodded as the scream was removed at once. Scream, well, I could swear there was a shuddering scream, but I cannot recall it clearly. Too highly pitched, maybe. The audience was also deafened a bit, but in a moment the cast caught the cream of the joke, and, to my great pleasure, found it to be witty enough. Several dozen casts began to laugh. The highborn are always discreet, as it demanding by both our nature and our decency. But this time the audience was not able to hold back, nor did they want to. Marisi had dropped down on its knees and froze in place. Of course, the little brat was dead. The thing Marisi had been just about to embrace contained, well, a significant part of its male khajiit whelp, as well as a pair of its small sister's limbs. Also, for that bit of extra flair, risen undead with the mouth sewed shut, but it still contained a tiny sparkle of what it was while living. I suppose the thing recognized Marisi somehow, because it tried to crawl up to it, only managed to drag itself a little bit closer. Holy shit, that took a fucking wending. Swindled in its white fowl, trembling mumbly quietly. The thing really was uncomfortable. The only reproof I can have for myself the putrid smell was too strong. Too much time has elapsed since the previous act of my play, and no instant could possibly soothe that stench. Nevertheless, everyone was admiring that thing, paying no mind to Mercy, including me and sadly the guards. Note to self, to think of an appropriate punishment for the cast as soon as I finish these writings today. Anyway, the ungrateful creatures suddenly shook her off her numbedness, ran up to the closet guard, snatched a sword out of its scabbard and decapitated the wretched creature of mine in a flash. I almost caught the risen breast's eye, which was looking at Mercy with something that could not even be called gratitude. If I didn't know for sure that never gratefully to the living, deep in those thoughts, I raised my own eyes, just to see my furious little skunk rushing for me, pointing the sword tip at my throat. Oh, that went very well. Alas, brave were Khajiit. The guards have finally come to their sense and caught you almost in mid-air. The guest, to my great relief, went on laughing and apparently considered this all to be a vital part of the show. Well, I have no intention of disappointing them. The test subject twitched and clawed into attempting to escape Car's clutches, but both its strength and will eventually fail it. It hung limply in their arms, having dropped the sword, and just stared at the fetid pile of bones, flesh and cloth, the last remains of its family. Well, this night was definitely a success. Jesus Christ, this book is very long. We could have toned down the book a little bit, I think. I think this should be an extra video by itself. Since then, Mercy has ceased to talk, eat, drink, and even sleep, as far as I can tell, but the plaything I've constructed was too marvelous to just get rid of it after a single defense. No way am I going to lose her. I've not a great deal of trouble to find a remedy for a mate as great as myself. I mean, the sarcophagus incarnation is a superb tool to erase someone's memory. So I put the test subject under the spell. I have so many plans for it. The spell was cast successfully, but to my great surprise, some scraps of the erased memory were still left in Mercy's mind. Those scraps apparently tormented it, restraining its temperament from being as vivid and cheerful as it had been before the event. The test subject had become a pitiful copy of itself. Not good. It should consider moving to a new place, somewhere completely different than the Somerset area. Need to test exclusive cold treatment. So that godforsaken Skyrim may be worth a try. Not one of those stinky beasts deserves to live. No, single one. Single one. Expect the one I have already transformed to my amusement and glory, of course. Damn. I'm still inferred there was an old Khajiit female slave in the mansion, and I decided to use her to cheer up Mercy a bit, keeping in mind other amusement schemes. Of course, it worked out an escape plan, just to let Mercy feel a bit freedom, just enough to light her fire up again. So I wrote a letter and put some traveling junk into a satchel. I didn't want Mercy to walk too far from me. I just wanted to inspire it a bit, I surely didn't intend to let the test subject roam around the mansion absolutely free. So I ordered my assistant to work out on an exclusive spell revealing Marishi's location at any time. That's a problem. Note 7. The Cremora enclosure. Coming to an end. Hallelujah. By the way, who could think that a guard called up to be punished because of his sluggishness would show such an talent, revealing both his intelligence and endurance. Though self should pay more attention to those who close to me, even look ignoble. They might become quite useful in so many ways. The old khajiit was hacked. The old khajiit hack should have passed the letter to Marishi. I had no doubt the test subject would gladly take the chance to escape from its hateful surroundings. But the old rotten dared to spoil everything. Everything. It was sorry for the little thing, the little my lady. Curse it. It substituted my statue from another one. Wrote another letter and let the test subject escape for real. The day before the tracking spell was ready. Ah, that's smart. The plan blew up in my face and I will have a very, very long time in the cellar with the cursed old hack. The ritual of casting an exclusive location spell requires the test subject to be present on the platform itself, and without Marishi around, I can use only her scanty belongings, thus making the spell very loose and inaccurate. At least my new assistant shows. Oh shit, we are done. Some brightness and get so much information from the spell as possible. Recognitions party are already casing the area. Sooner or later, Marishi will be mine again. Oh, the moment I've so long waited. I have the whole of Oblivion to show you, my lady. Little my lady. Oh my god, that is horrible. Jesus Christ, I'm done.